Hey, this is Matthew Justice, second fucking gear crew, and you're listening and you're watching Turnbuckle Tavern.
After a long hiatus, much too long, we emerged from the spooky dust. We're back with light tubes and barbed wire. This is the fucking GCW show. I'm your co-host, Chad. With me, as always, the motherfucking truth, Mike Bellcaster, and the ace of the tavern.
We got the ace of the tavern. I'm here. Happy to be back on the GCW show. I've missed it dearly. Can't wait to get into everything that's went down since we last were here. Tournament of Survival was the last time we were here. Can't believe that.
I know, man.
Crazy.
And Mike, I feel like we've been gone so long. It's all my fault. Please throw your pitchforks at me. I was setting up a new studio. I didn't have capabilities to do anything. Man, I feel like we really fucked up because this has been the summer of GCW. I think we missed, I'm wanting to say 5 tentpole events. That's not counting the JCW shit. That's not counting the backyard wrestling event they had July 4th weekend. But as far as their big events, we've missed 5. So if you guys have been, we've got countless messages in our inbox from guys being like, where's the GCW show? When's it coming back? We're back. We're back on our bi-weekly schedule. We will be back again the Monday after the People versus GCW, which is SummerSlam weekend. Huge card. Blake Christian, John Moxley. So guys, thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for not giving up on us. Mike, fill us in on what you've been this month away that we've had. Month and a half. I don't know how long it's been. What's been going on with you, man?
Shit, I've been missing the GCW show just as much as our valiant people out there. It's been a crazy couple weeks. We just came off of one of the biggest Fig Nights that I think we've ever had with Jeremy Padower of Jazzwares, Jack Pacific, classic superstars, probably a great GCW fan himself. And yeah, we've been rocking out with Ace down here at Shout of Nostalgia. We're catching slowly up to the third man, brother. We're so super fucking pumped for it. And yeah, man, you know where I've been. Turnbuckle sessions, the All Elite wrap up, Fig Night. I'm here, baby. I ain't going nowhere.
You're the Iron Man. Ace, you guys have been crushing on Shot of Nostalgia. And this week, you and the Honor Society crew are coming back to preview Death Before Dishonor. What do you guys have in store for us?
So yeah, we're going to be previewing that whole card, going line by line, giving you guys the best Ring of Honor content there on the internet. No one else is doing it like the Turnbuckle Tavern. So we have almost the full card. I'm sure Wednesday will give us more insight about what the event will look like. I think we have all the championship matches laid out, but I'm sure we're going to get the other matches that will fill in the blanks for us. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a while. We have a whole bunch of new aesthetics and rebranding for the Ring of Honor. The new logo, we want to make it look very in line. So Honor Society coming at you live. That's Freem, Sneed, and myself. Just stay tuned. We're going to be previewing that card, and we'll be back with a reaction. So hopefully, paired with this, we'll get you guys filled in for what you missed.
Yeah, we feel bad because, of course, the Tavern has you locked on all the AEW stuff. We have you locked with the Raw down on the WWE stuff. But I feel like the GCW show and the Honor Society show really kind of sets us apart a little bit because we dive deep into those shows that maybe don't get the love they should.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And you know what the best part is our good friend, our buddy from down under, Nick Storm, went and seen a show with a couple of the GCW boys. Alex Zayne was there, Joey Janela, high praise to the fucking GCW show. Look at that beautiful bastard.
Oh man,
that's Nick Storm on the right? No, on the left. I'm so sorry. They look identical. They could have been his older brother, maybe. No, but it's just to hear the kind of words from high stakes of Joey Janela saying, you know, you guys do enough for GCW. We fucking love GCW, man.
Yes.
And it's just a blast to be doing this. And I missed it, man. I'm so happy to be back.
Yeah,
you guys
man.
can't see me underneath. I'm wearing the Zubaz pants like MLJ. I'm ready to rock. I mean, I got the Brainbuster shirt on. It's not as nostalgic as his Royal Rumble 1992 or a Spark Plug Holly shirt that he was wearing here this weekend. But, you know, we're here, man. GCW, baby.
Yeah,
got
it's
to
awesome,
represent
man.
the ML drip, man. The guy's killing it. We got good old Austin in the house. It's been a while, man. Thanks
Austin.
for tuning in.
Happy
Yeah,
belated
brother.
birthday, my friend.
Yeah,
He's
happy
on the
belated
road.
Austin.
Happy belated Austin. It's good stuff, man. Yeah, I'm fucking pumped, man. Happy to be back.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, we missed a ton as far as covering it on the show, but we were all tuned in. We were all watching. We saw what went down. A lot of great stuff. This episode we're going to get back in. You know, we got the Ain't No Jive 5. We're going to dive into Back to the Bay, No Signal in the Hills 2. We'll get specific about that. We got our top fucking tweets. We got some good tweets lined up for you. But first, we're going to kick it off and kind of fill in the gaps of our time away. So I guess it's time to get into the meat.
The meat. The meat. The meat.
So we had to rebrand it. It was our top stories before. Now it's called the meat.
Fuck yeah.
So the meat of the show, biggest story. I don't know what you guys think, but to me, the biggest story that's happened since we've been away, and this is something that we've all kind of called for, especially me and Mike, since the inception of this show. We've kind of seen the writing on the wall. We've been calling for it. I think all the GCW fans have been calling for it. And that's Blake Christian earning a shot against John Moxley's GCW world title. He'll be facing him at the People versus GCW SummerSlam weekend in Nashville. Ace, I'll kick it off to you first. What do you think of this matchup? What do you think is going to go down?
So yeah, we've been chatting in the Discord, so make sure you guys go in there and check it out for the GCW events that are happening. We obviously have a separate chat. We've been checking it out, and we watch these matches happen and live and unfolding. We've been waiting for it. Those that have been watching GCW faithfully know that Blake Christian is the next guy in line. We need someone to replace John Moxley as that champion who floats in and out. Yeah, Moxley brings some prestige to the championship. He brings some meaning to it, one of the deathmatch kings in North America and all over the world. But you need someone who's there full-time, who's ready to take that next step. And I think Blake Christian's proved all throughout 2021 and then thus far in 2022 that he is that guy who's ready to take that next step in the main event level. We've seen him on AEW Dark. He's able to hang with the best of them in GCW, whatever who's coming in just for the weekend. He is the cream of the crop right now, and I think right now he's been proving week to week that he's ready to take that next step. And I'm just so excited. It feels like it's going to be a crowning moment at SummerSlam weekend. They usually use those, I guess we call it a tentpole event, but those WrestleMania, SummerSlam weekends, GCW knows eyes are on wrestling. You got touristy fans in town. They're going to really pull the trigger on Blake Christian and crown him as that new champion. I'm here for it, and I'm excited.
What do you think, Mike?
I'm fucking pumped, man. Much of echoing Ace's statements. I think that it's about time. I mean, Mox has held it for so long. I don't think there's a better person in the company that could possibly take on the role as champ other than Blake Christian. I think it's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait to see the match. I know they're going to put on a fucking hell of a card. It's going to be great. And I really love these events that kind of piggyback off of the bigger shows like the All-Ins and the All-Outs or, SummerSlam even. This is going to be a great show. And I'm just stoked for it, man. I cannot wait to see with the deliverance of Blake Christian and Mox. I know they're going to tear it down.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we've all been pushing for this guy. And I think he has kind of stepped above everyone else as far as being the guy to challenge for that title and possibly bring it home to, the homegrown GCW guys. But with all the bullshit in the wrestling world, we just debated this on Monday's debate topic about, the Adam Cole being too small to be a champion. When you look at Blake Christian and he's going up against Blackpool Combat Club's Moxley, who's on a fucking tear right now. is there any, maybe not so much with you guys, but do you think there's going to be maybe any backlash of people thinking that he's not up to taking the title from Mox? Or do you think with the GCW fan base, they're going to totally buy in?
I think you're looking at a completely different fan base. Obviously, I think the GCW loyals are going to know that what this kid has done to earn this title shot. I don't think there's a slight chance you could say he doesn't look like a guy that can carry this company. He is the guy that can carry the company, and I'm putting all of my chips in and ready to roll with this. I think Blake is going to be a phenomenal poster person for. There he is in all of his glory, man. I think he's going to be doing great. I think great fucking things. And it's going to be awesome to finally have a champion that can deliver every single show and not have these little hiatuses and whatnot. So I'm all fucking for it.
And the versatility is what really sets him apart from everybody else on the roster. He can work any style. And like I mentioned, those guys that come in, that's a big thing to do where you can work with those guys and look like you're the star. So, with Moxley being an interim, he's the AEW interim champion. And also the fact that GCW is going to get that rub. What's lost in all of this is you're going to have the crowning of Blake Christian, who not only will beat Moxley, he's going to beat a top promotions world champion at the moment. And that's a big step. So Brett Lauderdale has to be thankful that, everything that went down kind of created a situation where you're going to have to take the title off Moxley. Who knows if it was already sort of in their plans going forward, but it's going to work with serendipity, because at this point, Blake Christian's going to get the rub of the century, and it's about what they do after him. And I'm confident with GCW that they're going to run with him and they're going to make him look great. And, I'm just happy that we're going to have someone who's there week to week, because at these events that like the one we watched this weekend, no world champion. We need the world championship there. We need that title defended, and it adds a lot to the card and gives people a reason to attend and watch. It will help the brand.
Yeah, I'm totally with you guys. And it sounds like we're all kind of expecting him to take the title. Now, do you think it's time? Do you think it is time to take that belt off of Mox? Because we've talked about it, how having that belt, even though Mox doesn't bring that title onto AEW Dynamite, it's still a pretty reputable name to have holding your belt. He's the AEW champion right now, interim champion. But do you think it's time to kind of shed that and put it on one of your guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I think at this point, Moxley's done his service to the GCW brand, and there's always another time he wants to come back. I think the door will always be open for him. Get a rematch from Blake Christian. But, we watched that match he had at, what you wouldn't understand, middle of June when he wrestled Tony Deppen. Great match. There were moments in it that I thought, wow, they may pull the trigger on Deppen here and change the whole trajectory. That was before the match was announced with Blake Christian, because they announced it after that match. But I thought for a second, because we've been talking about how the title needs to be off of Moxley, it's not because of the job he's doing, just because he's not available. There's so many different things on his plate that GCW happens to fall over to the side. It's not fair to the brand. GCW, the fans deserve a world champion there at all times. And I'm sure Moxley would love to clone himself into 3 different people, be in New Japan, be in AEW, and also give his best to Game Changer Wrestling. So yeah, I agree with that. I think it is time, and Moxley's done a service, and there's no telling, he could come back next year. Who knows?
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, by having Mox, who isn't there every week at every show to put that title on the line, it's almost made that ultra violent title become the it title in the company to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more. Listen, you need some kind of presence, and regardless if it's the World Championship or the Ultra Violent Championship, there's got to be some kind of constant. Constants bring the fans back. The constants bring the action back, and I think it's now or never for them to get that title off of Mox, especially because he's in such a big picture in AEW right now. I mean, he's defending that belt every week, almost on Dynamite, and who knows what the future is going to hold for him there. But I think this is the perfect time to crown an in-home body for GCW. I don't think you can't miss this opportunity. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, there was a vignette that was released while we were away with Blake Christian that I found interesting. And we saw him come out with this mask, this black mask that he's been donning. And we all know him as All Heart Blake Christian. Well, I guess this is like Graveheart is what I'm hearing the phrase Graveheart a lot. I'm going to play the vignette. It's about 2 minutes long. This will be another thing for the people who are listening later. This probably isn't going to be the greatest thing to listen to. That's why you should watch us live. But it's a very interesting vignette that I felt we should show for the live people tuning into the live stream, because it's an interesting wrinkle in Blake Christian's character. Here we go.
What is that? Who am I? Why did they check that? Why did they check that? What did you do to me?
So very odd for the people just listening who made it through those 2 minutes. He's in the catacombs of, it looks like an old arena down in the basement of an arena. He's going room to room. He keeps hearing the chants for all heart, going room to room. Nothing's in there. Finally, he goes into a room and there's a mask setting on like a dolly. And what's this signal to you guys? Is it a change in character? Is it him finding an edge to go against Mox? Like what is the meaning of this vignette?
I feel like it's Blake finding a deeper possession inside of him to combat John Moxley. I think first off, love the fucking promo. Love how it's set up. Absolutely great aesthetics. Love the light shutting off in the hallway. Him kind of trying to figure out which door to go through, but he finally sees this mask on the dolly and he's questioning himself. He's like, who the fuck am I? Why are they chanting? You know, it's all about him trying to find this dark place that's inside of him, I think. And I think that's what he's going to come out with that mask on for this match with Mox. And it's going to be possibly one of the best moments in GCW history.
Yeah.
So fucking pumped, man.
A close second to the graphics team who makes all these awesome posters for the events is whoever makes these vignettes, because this reminds me of the Jeff Jarrett stuff going on with Effie a couple months ago. Just very dark and ominous, fits the mood. And I think I agree with you. You nailed it, Mike Belcaster. I think a big thing with this is the transformation into a darker side. Reminds me, not the same type of thing, but we've seen this story in wrestling time after time. Cactus Jack tapping into that dark side of himself to get to Triple H's level, to beat him or try to beat him at Royal Rumble 2000. Things like that make guys into more dynamic characters. And I think Blake Christian, in order to take that next step from being this white meat baby face guy who's just out there being athletic to take that next step and have an edge to him. And this is it for him. And I think that character that he's developing will come to fruition. And we're only going to see it develop over time after he's champion. That's the beautiful part about the storytelling, is it's not done when he wins the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think it's him getting to that dark place. I think for sure. Now, if he wins like we think he's going to win this title, do you guys have like a short list of people that you think could challenge him? Like immediately, people who come to mind for me is like Alex Zayne, Hot Sauce. Like I know those guys have tagged together. I think that would be a killer feud. I think the Johnny Gargano match is always out there. He's still teasing at that. You will see that later in the top fucking tweets. Is there anybody that comes to mind for you guys as like next in line?
They would have to spend some time building him up. But Cole Radrick, Ratty Daddy, I think I love everything he's been doing.
Yeah.
I also comes to mind Speedball Mike Bailey when he comes in and out of him being an Impact. You can always go back to Joey Janela. You know, Joey Janela always is great at making his opponents look amazing. Give Joey Janela his flowers. His matches this weekend were phenomenal. But the beautiful part about this, you can have a lot of these matches that are able to tell the stories in just this small little event. So I think I would start with the three of those guys, but you can even have someone travel in. Some of these per diem appearances can come in and really make Blake Christian as that star.
No, absolutely. I would totally love to see them kind of circle through some of their talent, like a Nick Wayne, a Janela. You know, you could go miles. Speedball Mike Bailey would be perfect. There's
even
so
Jordan
many
Oliver has been crushing it.
Absolutely. There's so many good people that you could put in this spot with him. You know, Alex Zayne was another one. I mean, you got so much talent to choose from. There's no way to fuck it up. Like I think it's going to be great no matter how they do it, and that's what I'm more interested in, is to see where they go with this after he wins the title. Because I like fucking sign me up, because there's going to be some amazing top tier matches that we don't even fucking know.
Yeah,
dude, I think Nick Wayne is a great answer, because it feels like Nick Wayne's out there. He's always that breath of fresh air in the middle of a death match. I feel like they put him in that spot where he's just hitting high spots, but we forget how young he really is. And we haven't really seen the best of him. As athletic and great as his matches are, he's only how old? 18 years old.
Right.
So we still have so much left, if we're lucky, of just a full career, full time, you know, AEW superstar when he's able to reach that age. But for now, GCW has him in the palm of their hands. Might as well use him.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting in the next 2 weeks to see how this all shakes out with Blake Christian. Another bit of news, I just wanted to touch on some of the fat guy. What's going on, dude? Some of the matches that we missed in our absence that I felt like we just need to at least touch on. From You Wouldn't Understand in New York on June 18th, Mox defeated Tony Deppen. Thought that was a great match. They had a killer 7-way scramble, one of the best scrambles they've had, that Blake Christian came out on top of. You had 70-plus-year-old Mike Jackson getting a win over Janela.
Beautiful match,
good.
man.
Jack Evans made his GCW match with Ninja Mac. Fun match. I think the biggest match, though, out of all the events came at I Never Liked You on June 19th in Providence, Rhode Island, when Will Ospreay made his GCW debut against Nick Wayne. What did you guys think of that match?
A fucking banger. Like just great. It's everything you expect from both guys. And I thought and brought up a level or two. Like really I mean, how can you not enjoy Nick Wayne versus Will Ospreay? Like it was just ridiculously good. I had a great time watching it, and Ospreay just brings something else to this level, man. And Nick Wayne was a perfect opponent for him. I think it was fucking beautiful.
It almost feels poetic that the two of them are wrestling, because I see a lot of a young Will Ospreay and Nick Wayne, and the body types are similar too. People forget, if you've been following Will Ospreay's career throughout New Japan Pro Wrestling, he was never this big Kenny Omega jack guy. He had to work to get that body. He used to be Nick Wayne level guy, where he's in there just kind of looking tiny and scrawny, and you know, he would put on a banger match. The skill set was always there, but he really blossomed to a main eventer in the last couple of years. Just shout out to the hidden blade finish, man. That's probably the most brutal finish in all of wrestling.
Yeah.
So Will Ospreay puts his shit in, and it was awesome seeing him in GCW. They've been hinting at it for a long time. They've been trying to get him there, but he had the health issues there. It was awesome to see. I mean, that's enough to get you to order pay-per-view, and then you stay for the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. And I gotta give props to Sneed on this, because talking about the hidden blade finish. Will Ospreay's hidden blade finish just takes a big old-fashioned shit all over Karrion Kross's finish in the WWE.
So true.
Same premise. We hated I love Killer Kross. He'll always be Killer Kross to me, but that finish was not laid in. And then you see Ospreay just decapitating dudes with the same finish. Like, you're right, Ace. He just lays that in better than anybody. Another big thing that happened while we were away, Alex Colon defended the Ultra Violent Championship twice. He defeated Del Patricks at Dead on Arrival in Detroit, and he defeated Ratty Daddy Cole Radrick at Gateway to the Death in St. Louis. Staying active, staying busy. And another big thing, we had the Rock and Roll Express defeat John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley, the Rejects, at Rock and Roll Forever at Evansville Coliseum. That was awesome.
What a blast, man. I got to work a show with Rock and Roll Express. I forgot who was wrestling the match at the time, but we were just chilling backstage. And, you know, Robert's sitting there with a cup of coffee, doing his spit. He's not drinking coffee. He's spitting his tobacco in there. But he walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, who the fuck's the face and who the fuck is the heel here?" And I was like, your guess is as good as mine. He's like, "All right, brother, man." And there's the only interaction I had with the dude, but like, what a fucking gentleman.
That's great. That's exactly what you want to hear from an old school guy.
Absolutely, man.
I actually met up with them at Outlaw Pro Wrestling. Shout out to them. It's a local promotion here in my area in New York, or Long Island, I should say. They come to Brooklyn every once in a while, but they were there wrestling in a brewery. So there was no locker room. People were setting up in like the area where you brew beer, and their merch table just set up right as you walk in, and there they were. And I was a little bit starstruck. I've never met the two guys, and they were as personable as you can imagine, selling t-shirts, taking pictures with everyone that would ask for it. And they put on a show. I mean, the thing is, this is their farewell tour. They're making pit stops everywhere you go and putting talent over, or doing their best to make new stars and passing on the knowledge that they have. It's a beautiful thing. It's what pro wrestling is all about. And I just love watching them work, and seeing them in GCW was a lot of fun. Just shows how eclectic GCW really is. It's not just a deathmatch company.
Yeah.
It's not just a technical wrestling company. This is truly the spirit of ECW, because, you know, ECW would be a platform for Rock and Roll Express to get their flowers, like a Terry Funk, you know, so it's a lot of fun.
Rock and roll forever, man.
Yeah. On that same card, you had Ricky's son, Kerry Morton, who, if you go back in our archives, that was the first interview we ever did, was Kerry Morton. And he had a killer match with Tony Deppen, man. Tony Deppen always brings it out of everybody. And we started the show off with 15, 20 minutes talking about Blake Christian. And just to further give this kid his flowers, if you look at the 5 events while we were away that he was in, he was there on every show. He won that 7-way scramble at You Wouldn't Understand. He beat Jordan Oliver at I Never Liked You. He beat Chase Burnett at Dead on Arrival. He beat Gringo Loco at Gateway to the Death. And he beat Shane Mercer. Also, Gringo Loco and Shane Mercer have both been on the Tavern. Go back in the archives. So Blake Christian just on a run, man. Like, they're stacking up wins. A lot of good events. One match that happened that had a lot of controversy around it. It happened at Dead on Arrival in Detroit, that I wanted to kind of give it its own little news story, was the death match between Slade and Hoodfoot.
Yeah,
this was
goddamn.
It was referee stoppage, and not a work. This was straight shoot. Slade broke a light tube, used it, and they were stabbing each other in the arm. One of the stabs to Hoodfoot, pretty bad laceration. What'd you think of this, Ace?
Scary moment, and you don't know what's real and what's not, and what's shoot and what's a work here in GCW, because the show must go on. It always does. People are always bleeding. You got darts being thrown at people. You got thumbtacks and barbed wire. But you could tell from the moment the referee was panicking. He grabbed the tape from Hoodfoot's arm, tried to wrap the wound to stop it from from bleeding. If you watch the video, it's very graphic. The
Yeah.
blood wouldn't stop. So they made the right decision. And it just shows. I mean, this is a livelihood for these guys. And I understand that death matches are an art form. It's not for everybody, but these things can happen. It was an eye opener for me because you take for granted that the things these guys put their bodies through, it just almost seems that they're just going to get through it. A guy like Hoodfoot gets his ass kicked every single time he's out there, and he's delivering the equal ass kicking to somebody else. But you got to remember, these are human beings, and it could go very, very wrong. So leave it to the professionals. Don't be doing this in your backyard, guys. That was a real reminder for me that if there's kids out there, like, leave it to the professionals. They know what they're doing.
It had vibes to me of, if you guys know, the death match that Nick Gage was in that was featured on Dark Side of the Ring when they had to get him out of there and he's screaming, "Let me go back in." He didn't want to leave. It had shades of that, where there was a level of, like, when I saw the ref handling it, there was a level of panic that you don't feel when it's a work, man. It felt real. It felt scary. Mike, what'd you think of this?
It was fucking crazy. I remember watching it live and I was just like, oh fuck. You know shit is going down when the referee decision is on a GCW show.
Yeah.
they don't call stuff for shits and giggles. There's no fucking storylines behind that. I mean, we all know how big of a badass Hoodfoot is. But yeah, I was fucking panicking. I was, freaking out, man. It did not look pretty whatsoever. Good news is that dude's healing up. It wasn't fucking severe. Nothing bad happened, but motherfucker got, his shit torn up. And kudos to the ref for stopping the fucking match. And even when he's panicking Skywalker and shaking all over the place, man, he's fucking it's good to see, that they're taking shit serious as much as they should. But what a fucking injury. Really does open up your eyes to what the death match risks are. Very, very much so, because we see them all the time here and we're like, oh, this is fucking great, spooky dust, light tubes, but like, this motherfucker got stabbed. It looked bad.
Yeah, man. And I feel like that's something that I think, Ace, you kind of alluded to it. Like, I feel like we take for granted that these guys are just like rock'em sock'em robots and they get in there and they're untouchable. But like, when you see something like this, for me, it gives me reverence to the deathmatch guys. Like,
absolutely,
it makes me think, like, if you think they're just going in there and playing smash and grab, dude, shit is on the line. Real things could go wrong here. And having said that, like, I don't place any blame on Slade, because this is a thing we've seen this done in other death matches tons of times.
Yep.
So it's not like he was doing anything so drastic that you're like, whoa, over the line. I didn't feel that at all. It was just one of those situations where you got caught and shit went bad. And like you said, Mike, kudos to the ref.
Yeah, it was an Arquette situation. David Arquette got that fucking right to the jug. Like, just shit happens no matter what. If you're not, I don't know, if it doesn't matter if you're not or if you are. Shit just happens sometimes, man. Especially in that realm.
It shows the trust between the two competitors, because you can think back, and I know you guys probably saw it, and those that are listening have seen the Dark Side of the Ring episode with New Jack, and the that whole incident with Mass Transit with the young kid who came in pretending he was enhancement talent. Things went sideways. New Jack felt like he was slighted by him and went into business for himself and beat the crap out of him. And eventually the kid bled to death on the way to the hospital. So things like this can happen. You have each other's lives in your hands, and it really is. Pay reverence to these guys, entertaining you guys and entertaining us by putting their bodies on the line, taking risks, because it truly is it's a dance. And these guys have the utmost trust in each other. And it just shows, it was a reminder this weekend. So
yeah, definitely. Other news, this weekend at No Signal in the Hills 2, we had a match with Joey Janela and Rocky Romero. No, Gringo Loco and Rocky Romero.
Yes.
And Rocky Romero was not even supposed to be on that card. It was supposed to be John Morrison, but I guess he was at the event that our own Nick Storm was at in Australia. Did he get banged up there because he had to pull out of No Signal in the Hills 2 due to an injury?
Yeah,
They did
he
not
must
say
have.
what the injury was. It's just been unknown, and I'm sure Morrison will be transparent with it when the time is right. He has not commented on. He's been sort of silent on social media, so we'll see what the injury is. I'd imagine the last time he worked was in Australia. He worked full. We saw him. Nick Storm saw him compete. So something happened between that point and this weekend that he couldn't compete. So hope all is well with him. But Rocky Romero was a very suitable replacement and put on an awesome match. It was great to see one half of Roppongi Vice in GCW. It was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he commented on it, but he didn't give any details. He put out a tweet that said, "Hey guys, I'm really bummed about missing the show and the shot for a singles match with Gringo Loco. The GCW card is stacked, and I'm still planning on attending to check out the show and meet the GCW fans." So
Yeah.
no real like information on what happened, why he didn't miss it, but he's a guy. I mean, he's always traveled, done different spots, so I'm sure there was something that kept him from. That would have been a great match with Gringo. I mean, Gringo
yeah.
Loco, tailor made.
Yeah, no, that would have been amazing. Johnny Turnbuckle was severely missed, but I think Rocky Romero was a fantastic addition to it. I had a fucking blast in that match, and you could throw salami at Gringo Loco; he'll make that shit look good.
Yeah.
And it was awesome seeing Gringo get the win there. I was shocked to see
Yeah.
him get the win. And that, I know we'll talk about the matches more in depth, but I'm watching the match expecting him to put, Rocky over.
Yeah.
And then when he won, I was like, fuck yeah. I was so stoked.
Stoked for Gringo, man. Great dude. Other news, it was announced that Matt and Chelsea Cardona are set to renew their vows at GCW Homecoming on August 14th. Now, if you know your history, your GCW history, GCW Homecoming is kind of the event that Matt Cardona set on fire. I believe
Yeah.
that was the Nick Gage match.
It was, yeah.
So he released a tweet saying, "I was injured at a GCW wrestling show. Lauderdale didn't offer to pay for my surgery rehab. He then wanted to unbook me for Homecoming, the show that I made famous. In lieu of suing GCW, we agreed that Chelsea Green and I will be booked and inviting you all to our vow renewal. So we're going to get a wedding vow renewal."
I'm excited for it.
I think this is going to be shenanigans. This
Yeah.
falls in the long line of wrestling weddings, and I think it's going to be a fucking killer time.
Yeah,
Might be the best one yet.
when Cardona originally got injured, we were all sitting here discussing how is Cardona going to stay relevant while he's out for so long. And these are the moments that I'm talking about. This is the shit that he could do while he's injured and fucking still be a hot topic, heat button. Fucking throw me into it, man. I'm so excited to see how this goes. I'm loving it.
He's a WWE fan for life, and he knows his history. Obviously, the most famous wrestling wedding of all time was Macho and Elizabeth live at SummerSlam. So fits the mold, I'm sure. And you know what? I think he leans into being a Fed guy, and we always talk about Fed brain here, but he's making it truly his gimmick.
Yeah.
That he wants the GCW fans to hate him because he came up through that system and was as a typical WWE guy and leaning into it. I mean, it's a beautiful heel work that he's been doing since that run. Homecoming was the first time he won the championship, but he was doing it long before that. And he took lemons and made it to lemonade by being released in 2020. And we're getting some of the best work from Cardona, even when he's not in the ring. It just shows how good he's been and is right now.
100%.
Dude, I'm not going to be shocked that their outfits are going to be a homage to Macho and Miss Elizabeth. It's going to be that white and gold, some sort of like knockoff of the match made in heaven. You know it's coming.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? And I'm thinking about this down the line. I know everyone loves to hate Cardona, and I think if you ask GCW fans that are waiting in line there in Atlantic City, they would say they hate Cardona. But I think when this is all said and done, 5, 6, 10 years down the line, they're really going to appreciate Cardona for what he's done. They've been very, very good dance partners, GCW and Matt Cardona. They've helped each other down the line. And I think he's going to go down as one of the best GCW world champions of all time. I think that's like, it's not hyperbole at this point. It's the truth.
Dude,
I agree with you, man.
He is the thing I love about and I'm not the biggest, like, I'm not a major mark. I'm not in I know a lot of our tavern crew are. I get it. I like Cardona. I like Brian Myers, but I'm not biased towards them. This is coming from a strictly just a wrestling perspective. GCW would never be able to have a heel like him built within their company. The thing that makes Cardona the best fucking heel they have is the playing up on the Fed.
Yeah.
Is the WWE superstar angle. It's the way he pulls this bullshit stuff from the past, you know, like when he showed up for that hardcore match and he's dressed like McMahon in the black.
So good.
I mean, shit like that is what sets the GCW faithful on fire. And I love that he's a part of the company, and I love that he's there, because you're not going to, you know, no Atticus Cogar or Charles Mason or Joey Janela's heel stuff right now. They're great heels, but they don't have the ability to be that type of heel.
100%. And that's Cardona knows how to hit those buttons because he's that fanboy, and because he's got not just WWE, but he's just a wrestling fanboy in general. And I think he really knows how to get into underneath the fucking fingernails of the GCW fan base. And it plays off so damn well every time he comes out, whether it be the dude with the piss jar or whatever. Like Cardona is just fucking like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you guys. I'm fucking done with it. Like the ultimate babyface heel for fucking GCW. I love it to death.
And it goes deeper than just on screen. He keeps it going on social media with Brett Lauderdale
100%.
and interviews. There was an interview he did. I think Brett Lauderdale did an interview on Wrestling Observer back when Cardona first won the title, and he was being candid with Meltzer. And I know it was tongue in cheek, but he was saying, "I hate Matt Cardona. We don't want to work in promotion. He doesn't represent what we want here." And there's a deep level of work there. But you're right. I think there's a piece of being a heel in 2022 is very challenging, because we love to cheer the heels. You love the bad guys that are doing good work, but it's hard to manufacture organic heat. And Cardona is a heat factory.
Yes.
He has the ability to manufacture it out of thin air by utilizing history and also leaning into the insecurities that a lot of wrestlers would have. Like, oh, I'm not this indie superstar that you probably wanted me to be. He leans into it, and he's better for it.
And what's funny about him, man, is he's taken his GCW heel gimmick and he started to push it into NWA.
Yeah.
And now he's shitting on old school Southern wrestling. He's kind of like created this heeldom that he's not, he birthed it in GCW, but he's starting to push it out into Impact Wrestling. And I mean, he was on a run before his injuries, but with these wedding vows being renewed, I think, like you said, Mike, it's a great way to keep him in the consciousness of the wrestling fan.
100%. It's gonna be good. I'm fucking pumped for it. I can't wait to see what he does with it. Yeah. He's gonna kill it, whatever it is.
Someone's popping out of a cake. You have to know that's happening.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you gotta have that. Last bit of news I have, and then I'll pitch it over to you guys if you have anything else to add. Last bit of news I have is GCW returning to Japan. It's going to be at the end of September into the month of October. I believe they're set for 3 shows. I think the World on GCW returns in Japan. That's the show that was made famous at the Hammerstein Ballroom. And I think there's some deathmatch stuff on the table as well. What do you guys think of GCW returning to Japan?
I'm here for it. I mean, you said it before, in fall 2019, GCW made its debut with the worst behavior in the new face of war. They were in Shinkiba first ring, so that's where they had the first events there. They returned to Japan in February 2020, right before the pandemic, and went there for 3 events. So right before the world shut down, they were able to get their foot in the door, and this is the first time they've been back to extend their brand. And so much has happened since 2020 till now. GCW is a whole completely different operation. I think they really took the next step since then. It's huge for the brand, no doubt about it. It's good for the aesthetic. I can't wait to see they didn't say what venues they're going to be running. And I know that plays a huge part into decision-making for where they run the shows, because, one of the biggest stars of the events, and we'll talk about the venues in general from this weekend, they play a large part into the aesthetic, into the feel of the show. They're a huge part of it. So I think the Shinkiba, if I remember correctly, that was a really cool venue that they utilize in Japan. Maybe they go back there, but I'm here for it. I think it's absolutely amazing to see them. And I think the growth's going to be immense from 2019 until 2022. It's really going to put them on a platform to showcase what they've been able to grow and become.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, how can you make your return to Japan without doing the world on GCW? It's going to be fucking bonkers, batshit crazy. And we know Ninja Mac's been over there for a while. We got a lot of foreplay with that. So I'm excited for the big finish, man. It's going to be awesome. I love that GCW does not have a home base and they get to kind of float around and do whatever the fuck they want. And this adds to the punk rock, like, we don't give a fuck mentality. Like, we're going to Japan, man. We're going to do it out there for a few. Love that shit, man.
You guys need a forbidden door. We threw some dynamite at a wall, walk through it. Who cares?
And I mean, GCW is tailor-made for Japan. You think of the history of the deathmatch scene in Japan, the king of the deathmatch. You've got, the legends loom large in Japan, the Onitas, the Cactus Jacks, the Terry Funks. This is a company that I feel like has a great opportunity to go in there and put their stamp on being the definitive deathmatch company in the entire world.
Yeah, no, I'd love it. I would love an exploding barbed wire deathmatch from the GCW in Japan. It would be fucking historic,
have to do it. I want to see Onita. I want to see them bring in Onita. Fuck, Joey Janela's always the guy to welcome in these old legends like X-Pac, Mike Jackson, all these guys.
Yeah.
Give me Onita Janela in an exploding barbed wire death match.
Oh my God.
Fucking huge, man.
Fuck.
I'm here
Eddie
for
Kingston's going to want to be there. You know that. Eddie Kingston's such a mark for the death matches, and Onita specifically. He's going to want to be there. So it wouldn't shock me if I know EW has that working relationship with Brett Lauderdale. It would be awesome to see Eddie get his nod there. And it would be nice full circle. He can get the recomeuppance of everything that happened all those years ago with the exploding barbed wire match. Then we get a legit explosion where Eddie Kingston's in the ring.
Right.
Oh, that'd be great.
Right. Do you guys have any other news or notes?
I do. I have Nick Gage returning to Game Changer Wrestling. So I'm not sure if this is going to be active. Maybe you guys can confirm this, but they had said on social media that he'll be returning August 19th at the Sanctified event in North Carolina, as well as their August 20th Hope to Die event in Atlanta. Seems like he's going to be active, which I'm really excited for.
Yeah, he had the matches recently. They had the tag straps for just a brief moment. I did see some, I forget who posted on social media, but I saw them working out with Nick Gage in the gym. So it looks like he's trying to get his mind and body right for his return. So I'm excited for Nick Gage to come back.
Yeah. MDK all fucking day, baby.
All day. They also announced during the event that they'll be returning to Los Angeles September 23rd. No name for the event, but they're starting to run. They're pretty consistently. Ukrainian Cultural Center has a nice foothold. The West Coast GCW home base. It's been awesome to see.
Yeah, it looks like every time they go back to LA here recently, it's been like they do one night in LA, then they go to San Francisco. I'm digging that event that they had Back to the Bay at, or the venue. I believe they were there a couple months ago, and it was a great look to an event.
No, stellar look, amazing aesthetics in that building. It's one of my favorite venues I think they've ran. And the same thing with the Ukrainian Center. I love. They really stepped up the production this time. Not a shit fucking camera angle, no audio issues. Everything was smooth sailing, which is great. Those are my favorite shows, but I love these two venues so much. I think they add everything to the GCW lore that you need.
So MLJ, if you're listening, Brett Lauderdale, if you're listening, we want to see a flag on that hard camera on that big white wall at the Ukrainian Cultural Center. It's an open opportunity to put a nice little GCW swag on the wall. Put the brand out there. If you guys are listening, we'll know you're listening. You don't have to tell us. Just next time you're there, you have a nice big GCW flag, or put the Turnbuckle Tavern logo. I'm here for that too.
Go to Tom's house, take his fucking flag down from behind him, and put it right up behind, right up there, man. Hard cam, it'll be beautiful.
That Ukrainian Cultural Center, man, that archway is just ripe for a big fucking GCW banner hanging there. Like, I love that's the thing with the San Francisco venue that makes it pop is those banners that they have. It just
Yeah.
sets it off.
Those light boards are fucking beautiful. And
Yeah.
like I said, like I think it was during Nick Wayne's match, like the lights were so dark in the ring, but it didn't matter because you got that backdrop and it looked like fucking two shadows were dancing with each other. I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Not to mention the ring apron too. The ring apron they had in LA was, the purple and gold with the Lakers colors, and then that turquoise blue with the GCW logo in San Francisco. That was awesome as well last night.
Yeah.
The last thing I have for the news is another event announced in Providence, Rhode Island. This is obviously where they had the Will Ospreay match, his debut in GCW. They'll be returning to the Fate Music Hall Sunday, November 20th. They're going to have a pay-per-view live on TV. So they made their debut there, and I think that's a nice little stranglehold they have there. They don't get a lot of wrestling there in Providence, Rhode Island, so I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
I forget what Brett says, but anytime they go to a city that really they get a great reaction from, Brett always sends a tweet out that's like, is this going to be one of our cities? He calls it something. I forget what he actually says, but it's pretty much like anytime they go, they're looking for the hotbeds. They're looking for places they can return to, and Providence showed out. So we're coming back. It's awesome.
Yeah, they go to the Detroits. They go to the Rhode Islands now. New York obviously is a huge spot there. But it's about these venues, finding those nice little niche venues that feel special, that they can have some character to it, because similar to ECW back in the day, that venue adds a lot to the shows.
Absolutely, man. So if you guys don't have any other news, we can get into our Ain't No Jive 5.
The Ain't No Jive 5.
So typically we have some clips that we'll sprinkle throughout. This time we went with a little highlight reel of the weekend coming, both events, the one in LA, the one in San Francisco, Back to the Bay, and No Signal in the Hills 2. So here, for all you guys watching, here is a little taste of what you might have missed this weekend. Just a little taste,
Well done. That was amazing.
Little
That was
taste.
beautiful, man. I loved it. I like how you separated the events. Everything had its own feel to it. A lot of fresh reminders of like, man, these matches are fucking fire.
Yeah, I hope stuff like that. I hope for the people watching gives you a reason the next time you see GCW putting on an event, go on Fight TV, order that shit, man. You will not be disappointed. It's always a fun time. the one I got to say, out of all of those clips, and there was some killer shit, Joey Janela holding the suplex, all of the great stuff that went on. The clip that pops me the hardest is fucking Mance Warner acting like he's going to dive, and he steps out of the ring and does the old-fashioned eye poke. It got me. It was so fucking good.
So
Friend
good,
of the pod. Friend of the pod.
Hell
Friend
yeah.
of the
No,
pod.
these were two great fucking events. Best $22 you can fucking spend on a weekend. I
Yeah.
swear to God, every time we buy them, I'm like, God, this was well worth the money. You're getting almost 7 hours worth of wrestling, give or take. Fucking awesome stuff too. It's never disappointment when you throw on GCW.
Feels like you're part of something special when you're watching, and then it has an underground feel, but like now that the production value is right at the point where it feels very polished too. At the same time, it's this very nuanced thing they've developed here, and it's been such a fun ride since I've started watching GCW. Full transparency from you guys doing the show and catching on to what they're doing. And if you guys are not watching GCW, you are absolutely missing out. I don't know what else to tell you. Go and check it out. Support them. Buy merch. Support these guys. This is the type of wrestling that needs to exist, because if not for them, man, we wouldn't be getting the magic we get on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis.
Yeah, I love that it's just such a down and dirty, raw company. And I know we've all said it. A lot of people say it online, in the press. It's kind of a cliche, but it's so true. This is the punk rock version of wrestling. Like you said, Ace, if you feel like you're a part of like this underground movement, because you truly are. But Ain't No Jive 5. We got 5 matches from the weekend of both of these events that you guys should check out. We're going to go down our top 5. Then we'll pick our best bout of the week. I'll kick it off. Number 5 for me. This was a very hard 5. Great matches. My number 5, the tag team title match. Bussy defeating Second Gear Crew. Crazy chaos. A lot of fun spots. The Mance Warner spearing Alley Catch through the pane of glass. You had Matthew Justice coming off the top rope with that fucking chair shot. I mean, just exactly what you expect from these dudes. And people don't realize, like, maybe the people that are just kind of tuning in now, Effie is a part of Second Gear Crew.
Yeah.
He's a member of that. So for him to be tagged up with Alley and to go against his old squad, that's a fun element to it too. So I have Bussy versus defeating Second Gear Crew at number 5.
I love it, man. My number 5, just because I haven't seen so much of Starboy Charlie, but Janela and Starboy, I think just fucking awesome match. I mean, Starboy had a great weekend. Both matches he was a part of this weekend were fucking very, very fun to watch. Obviously Janela steps it up a little bit more. I love the fucking, he walks him out of the arena in the suplex position. It was just so fun to watch. Good shit. Charlie, like I said, I haven't watched much of him, but what I'm seeing, I'm fucking super digging the more and more as it goes on. And this was a good weekend for him. I thought he had a great showcase.
Coming off of a fucking broken leg, dude.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. From seeing him in the crowd from that one show we were watching, where they beat the fucking piss out of him. And his mom's like, no, it was great. But then you get into this and you get to see what he's really capable of and what he's really worth. It was really enjoyable, man. And like I said, Janela took it to a whole different level with them. Very, very fun match, man.
Yeah.
And his promo after the match too, where he gets the mic and he makes fun of his own haircut, and it was like a Mikey Whipwreck moment where he's just 100%. Mikey likes it,
Yeah,
felt awesome.
Good fucking comparison, man. I absolutely loved it.
So my number 5 was Blake Christian defeating Starboy Charlie, and this was, I mean, it's hard. This could have been number 1 any other week, but there was, as you guys mentioned, there was a stacked week of good wrestling. What set this apart for me was Leo Rush coming to ringside area and confronting Christian, joining the commentary team. If you guys don't know, they have history. They have a large history where they wrestled a few times. I had so much fun back in 2020, Slime season, GCW Fight Forever, the Wind of God in late 20 and 2021, as well as the World on GCW in January of this year. So a lot of history at Leo Rush. Seeing him back, I know we're going to talk about it with top tweets, but Nyla Rose's tweet with Leo Rush was funny. Great match. And Starboy Charlie really made an impression on me this week. And he's one of those guys that to watch out for. I posted a picture that he did share on Instagram. So shout out to him. Follow him on Instagram. Just type in Starboy Charlie. Easy for me to say, pal. And I put two side by sides of a young Eddie Guerrero and a young, well, not young, him right now with the same haircut, skinny. So a high praise from him. I'm not saying that he's at Eddie's level, but everything about him reminded me of a young Eddie Guerrero back in the day when you see those clips of him wearing those just the black tights. It felt like it was a young Eddie in the ring.
I love the comparison, man. It's very true. He was, like I said, he was so fucking good this weekend. Not that he's not good any other weekend, but really stood out this weekend. Like fucking 2 great matches, phenomenal opponents, just fun fucking wrestling, man.
Yeah. He impressed the shit out of me, man. Like there was a couple guys this weekend that had like a great double shot weekend with great matches back to back. My number 4, Joey Janela against Kevin Blackwood. Talk about another guy who had a great back-to-back match weekend. Janela, obviously, but Kevin Blackwood, man, he lost both, but I love the Janela Kevin Blackwood match. I love that Blackwood is becoming that. He pops up on all of the Los Angeles cards. Now, this is a guy who trained with Butcher and the Blade. He's a Buffalo guy. He cut his teeth with Daniel Garcia. He was in the van when they wrecked.
Yeah.
And Daniel Garcia got hurt, and Chris Jericho donated that money without even knowing Daniel Garcia when he was just an indie guy to Jericho. He wasn't in the Jericho Appreciation Society. He has since relocated to LA. And since he's been in LA, he's became a staple on the California GCW shows. And I think the kid is killing it. I think he's another guy. We talked earlier about Blake Christian, possible dudes who you could line up for title shots. I think Blackwood for me is on the short list.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fucking awesome. My number 4 is as Chad mentioned earlier, Bussy versus Second Gear Crew. I mean, that match had every fucking thing you possibly could have wanted out of wrestling. If this was your first week watching GCW, I would show you this. This was a great fucking match to just lay it all out there. It was just great, man. They busted out glass. They had the doors. They had barbed wire. It was fucking fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Such a good match, and their tag title run's been underrated. It's been a lot of fun
Huge.
watching them defend on an evently basis at this point.
Yeah. And like Allie Catch fucking hanging in there with the boys. I fucking pop for it every time, and she takes bigger bumps than most of the dudes in the match, and she kills it. It's fucking so awesome, man.
And I never find myself thinking, oh, it's a woman in the match.
Yeah,
she's just. Dude, that never fucking crosses my mind. I know you've got those fans out there that are like, oh, what's she doing it? Fuck that, dude.
Yeah,
she's in 100%. There with the guys, giving as well as getting. She's a badass. I love Allie Catch. I think she would be. I hate like wishing her away from GCW, but you put her on any major roster, she's a must see. I want to tune in and watch Allie Catch.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
She's catching the eyes
all over.
Yeah.
She's catching eyes. Mickey James on a podcast this past weekend shouted her out.
Yeah.
Wasn't asked specifically about her, but shouted her out as who to look for in the future of women's wrestling. And we talk about Lumberjill. He was on the debate a few weeks ago. So Allie Catch is someone he gave high praise as well.
Yep.
So be curious to see what she does in the next couple of years. And again, you don't want to wish her away from GCW, but you have to know that greener pastures are looking at her. The beautiful part about GCW is even if you move away, you can always come back. So that's
absolutely
100%.
My number 4. I have Tony Deppen defeating Commander, and we were talking off air about Commander, just giving this guy his flowers, how young he is, coming over from AAA and making his GCW debut only a few months ago. Goes out there every single week and has a killer match, getting young Ultimo Dragon vibes, young Rey Mysterio vibes. Mike and I, cheap plug here for Shot Nostalgia. We just saw the debut. First ever match at Great American Bash 1996, Rey Mysterio versus Dean Malenko, a skinny, young little nothing. Who would have thought Rey Mysterio would be winning the world championship all the way back at WrestleMania 22? Commander's career seems like it's going to be taking off. And again, piggyback of what you said about Allie Catch. Don't want to be wishing him away from GCW, but it certainly feels like for that lucha style, he fits that mold. And I could see him going to even WWE and working in that system. I know they like to have that lucha style represented in WWE, and it hasn't been for some time. But that spot we keep seeing from Commander where he's running the ropes, doing the sprint, which, I mean, we look at Undertaker doing old school, walking the ropes. I mean, big guy, much bigger than Commander, but that being said, he's sprinting on the ropes and hitting springboard shooting stars, springboard moonsaults, planches. This reminds me of when we first, and we're watching Rey Mysterio in 1996, where he's hitting the 619, and we're like, oh, it blends into what everything's going on. But at the time, that was the craziest move that you're seeing. Yeah. No one had seen this outside of Mexico, and Commander's doing this stuff. And it would shock me if we didn't start seeing this. Like Ray Phoenix is going to start doing this because he has to be like, you know what, you can do it, I can do it better. And it's competition breeds success at this point. I mean, I see a lot of vibes of Commander with some of the best luchas in the world. And I can't wait to see what he does. Such a young, up-and-coming star. And Tony Deppen, I mean, you can't say enough good things about him. Showed out all the way back in June when he faced Moxley for the title. Just came up short. Both these guys went out there. Go out and check out this match. Again, could have been number one any other week, but this week was just jam-packed.
Yeah. 100%. I loved when Commander just jumped right off, like right when Tony Deppen's coming out to the ring and just fucking crushes him in the chairs in the crowd. And you're just like, the fuck just happened?
All I picture is Taz. No warmer up in the bullpen, Cole.
Here's what's crazy. When he runs those ropes, every time you plant your foot on those ropes, you don't know what way they're going to be bouncing. These are just fucking ropes pulled tight. So the amount of like balance. I mean, we've seen Ray Phoenix do some rope running and feats of balance in matches, but this is like next level shit, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It was fucking impressive as hell. Absolutely.
Number 3 for me, I have Kevin Blackwood again, this time taking a loss to Nick Wayne. It was about a 10-minute match. I just love there were other matches that I probably could have put over this, but I'm just having such a great time watching Nick Wayne, man.
Yeah.
Like this kid, he's 17, like people forget his age doesn't play into his in-ring. But when you really think about it, at 17 years old, dude, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing with my life. Like I'm trying to figure out what college am I going to? And this kid is in there a couple weeks ago with Will Ospreay. He's putting on bangers against a tough guy like Kevin Blackwood. Every week he comes in and he's fighting the who's who of independence in GCW. Hats off to Nick Wayne, getting a big win over a surging California guy, or a California transplant guy in Kevin Blackwood. I loved this match.
No, it was beautiful. Very, very fun watch, man. Absolutely enjoyed it. My number 3 is I'm going back to some two staples of the GCW arena. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Jack Cartwheel. A very underrated match, man. I was watching it. I was looking at the card and I was like, how can I not put this in the top 5? I mean, you get everything that you could possibly want out of both guys. Cartwheel, I mean, he's got a gimmick, and it's not like the greatest gimmick. He's the super athletic gymnast dude, but motherfucker delivers every time he gets in the ring, and you're like, all right, like that little springboard, off the stomach into the spinning fucking elbow drop that he does off the, it's ridiculous, man. These guys are doing video game moves from like 10 years ago, and you're like, wow, like this is fucked up that they're doing it so effortlessly and it looks so beautiful. So a big shout out to Speedball Mike Bailey and Jack Cartwheel. Just had a fucking it was a great time, man.
When they're trading cartwheels in the match, it's just like
it's how you kick off. It's like a Friday night of pro wrestling, like that whole match. Like it's just everything you let loose. You're enjoying it, you fucking go out, you enjoy a couple shots. Like these guys are fucking killing it. Yeah. I had a blast watching it, man.
You can tell they're having the time of their lives. And it reminds me of I think it was Peter Avalon or someone was interviewed lately and they said they like their wrestling like the Muppets.
The Muppets.
Yes.
This match was similar to that, where it had a little piece of everything. You're getting some rock and roll, you're getting some comedy. And I think GCW is a good example of that, where it's a variety show and they don't take themselves too seriously. Of course, the death matches, as we talked about with Hoodfoot almost dying in the ring, it can go very wrong. But when when wrestling's at its purest, you could suspend belief, but also have fun and not take it too seriously. People are like, oh, that's impossible. And when you watch the lucha stuff, it doesn't make any sense with psychology. There's no psychology in those lucha moves. Well, that's the lucha style. You don't like it, you don't like it. That's just, they're just having catch can, a lot of rhythmic moving. It's like a dance. So if you don't like lucha, just admit that. Don't just say it has no psychology, because it does.
Yeah,
right.
It's hardcore fucking ballet, man. Enjoy
that shit. So my number 3 was Dark Sheik defeating Cole Radrick, and this was tough to say, but you also mentioned, as far as females in the ring being able to hold their own, Dark Sheik is up there with the best in the business. Again, another one of those people, just control C, control V. You could say you could put her in a different division. She would help a lot of women's division, whether it be WWE. I don't think they'd use her correctly, but AEW could definitely use someone like Dark Sheik to raise the caliber of their women's wrestlers. But also shout out to Ratty Daddy, one of the best themes in wrestling. At this point, I was disappointed in the Back to the Bay crowd in San Francisco. They were not singing along to All My Friends Are Dead, but in LA, they didn't disappoint. They were singing every word to it. We did them proud in Atlantic City when I went there. That song is such a banger. If you guys haven't checked it out, All My Friends Are Dead by, what's the band? Turbo
Negro. Awesome band. And that's a great song, but dive into that band in total, because all their records are fucking awesome.
I will, for sure, because that, like, the song's been stuck in my head since I first saw him live, and hearing the song and everyone singing the song, it was awesome. But back to this match, Dark Sheik getting the win over Cole Radrick just adds to the appeal of GCW, where it's not about intergender matches. You don't have that stuck in your mind, that these are just athletes at the highest caliber defeating each other. And this match was very underrated, told a really good story, set the tone for the whole night, really, in my opinion, that you have two of these very well-known at this point GCW stars doing what they do best. And I mean, Ratty Daddy is so good at what he does, and Dark Sheik is just such a badass, and that's the word for her. She's just an absolute badass.
No, Dark Sheik reminds me of a female essence of Sabu.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like, just with love though. Like, Sabu was one of my favorites growing up, and every time she steps in the ring, I'm like, motherfucker! Like, it blows you away every time, and like, you cannot not appreciate that, man.
She's got a vibe, and Ratty Daddy, man. I think we've mentioned this before. He's got that mix of Mikey Whipwreck and Spike Dudley to me. Just constant underdog who can like take a fucking beating, man. Love that kid.
Yeah, it's one of the best reactions in all the GCW arenas that he's at. So
yeah, when he takes the fucking light tube, and I'm like,
it's burned into my memory now. Like, every time somebody's like, "Oh yeah, Cole Radrick," I'm like, motherfucker. Like,
I always go back to that behind the scenes footage they had when he came out of that death match with Oren Veidt, and everyone was clapping for him because it was his first death match. The kid's coming straight out of JCW, the feeder league for GCW, and he just shows out, and you got to see the raw emotion of that. My number 2 is a tag team that's been featured quite a bit here lately. I'm going to butcher their fucking name, but it's Los Mazizos, I think. That's what
MLJ said it as, so I'll take your word for it too.
Okay. Los Mazizos defeating Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne. Dude, this tag team, they're blowing me away, man. I think a couple shows ago, Mike, we had talked about we want to see more tag teams put together, and really, we get these scramble matches, but a more solid tag division in GCW. Guys like this, man, throw them in with any other tag team. They put on a killer match, and to have them with two young guns like Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne, I thought these guys killed it. Some of the spots were incredible. Exactly what you would expect from Nick Wayne and Jordan Oliver. Great dance partners for these two dudes. I'm not sure their backstory. I'm not sure where they came from, but they are on my radar right now as like must-see guys. When they pop up on a GCW card, I want to watch these dudes.
Yeah, even their match at Back to the Bay was fucking fantastic. But obviously the standout was the No Signal and the Hill match with Nick Wayne and Jordan Oliver. Fucking just beautiful spots, man, and like very entertaining tag action. Like you can't really book shit like that perfect anymore. It was it was fucking entertainment from the start of the bell all the way until both teams were out of the arena. My number 2, I'm kind of cheating for number 1 and number 2 because it's a mix, but I'm giving Gringo Loco a fucking push in his match with Commander and Rocky Romero. both stood out so goddamn well. We talk about it all the time, how good Gringo Loco is, but like this weekend, again, another standout time. Like I thought him and Rocky Romero was fucking phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
what a great fill in for Johnny Turnbuckle.
Yeah.
But like it blew my mind how good that match was. And then same thing with Commander. I mean, talk about somebody who is perfect for fucking Gringo Loco's opponent, and both of them showcase. Obviously, Gringo got the win all weekend. Much kudos to him. If you have not bought the matches and watched them, these two matches alone are worth the money. The
Dude,
whole card is worth it all.
I would love to see Gringo feud with Blake Christian for that title a little bit.
Oh,
I think this guy's super fucking underrated.
Super talented.
I mean, he always puts on banger matches, but they've also had a couple backstage vignettes with him where he's cutting promos, and I'm like, dude, I see him he could be a top contender to me in GCW. That's how high I hold Gringo Loco.
Yeah, I could see him working any promotion and still being a top contender for shit, because he's got the total package and he's unique enough that it sets him apart from every other person that's out there in the mainstream right now. So you get this guy from Chicago, the great La Flama Blanca, going down to Mexico, picking up the lucha style, coming back up, running shit every weekend on GCW, be it scramble matches or these one-on-ones. It's never a disappointment.
Yeah.
And there's enough wins to go around for everybody, as we see with some of these booking decisions where you have Nick Wayne defeating Kevin Blackwood, but then also losing to Cyclop and Miedo Extremo. So there's a lot of parity in this promotion where everyone feels like they're on a level playing field. And that's be interesting how they establish Blake Christian as a step above everybody else with his main event push. But I digress. I'm going to take some liberties with my number 2 as well, like you did, Mike Belcaster. And it's Titus Alexander's week. It was 2 shows. The first at No Single Hills in LA, wrestling Alex Zayne, who was just a superstar. We had the picture that we showed with Alex Zayne of showing him with our very own Nick Storm. He went out there and did his thing. Great match. But also the second match that he had wasn't even supposed to be happening. It was supposed to be Blake Christian versus Titus Alexander, but Jordan Oliver came out and did it instead. They said Blake Christian was a little banged up going into the second show. I think he's okay, thankfully, but they were going to be a little bit cautious with him. But so back to the Bay, we had Jordan Oliver replacing Blake Christian. And it always impresses me when you have a match that wasn't originally slated. These guys have to go on the fly and sort of call some audibles and figure out the booking decision. And even though Titus Alexander went on his back both these matches, he felt like he was very much showcased in a great way.
100%.
And I mean, I think he has a good aesthetic to him as well. And I'm curious to see what they do with him going forward. And man, I love both of these matches. I was very impressed with him. He definitely shined for me.
He's getting a little bit of that push. I think I only remember him coming up in the some of the match cards, maybe in the last few months. I don't remember him early on when we started the show. So he's kind of like that new blood on the scene, and I love it.
Yeah,
100%.
No, I loved this whole weekend, man. It was fucking great. Him and Jordan Oliver was fantastic.
Fucking
watching,
great, man. Well, keeping in tradition of you guys going against the fucking rules and doing some double shots, for my number 1, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm giving mine to Alex Zayne with his double shot weekend against Titus Alexander and Tony Deppen. Both of these matches had some like stiff, hard shots. And this weekend to me for Alex Zayne, he's been in some great stuff in GCW. We've been big fans of Hot Sauce, got the Baja Blast, going to talk about big fans, but I feel like there was something different about this weekend for Alex Zayne. There was an edge. There was a mean streak to him, these two events that I felt like we hadn't seen yet. And this weekend gave me vibes of a Blake Christian style push. I remember getting this feeling early on when Blake Christian made his return to GCW after getting released from NXT, and he came with that chip on his shoulder, wanting to prove the doubters wrong. And now this weekend to me, it like turned a light bulb in my head, and I'm like, this he's going to be up there. I could see him and Blake Christian putting on a fucking killer trilogy of matches. Like,
hell yeah.
He's on the verge. I'm all in on Alex Zayne this weekend. Really, just I love the mean streak he brought, and Alex Zayne at my number 1.
Hell yeah. My number 1 is very much the same. I literally just wrote down hot sauce Alex Zayne is fucking insane, because I mean that's exactly what we got. This weekend was this was a packed 2 nights of GCW too. Like, it's always really hard to put these Fab 5 lists together. Alex Zayne, man, fucking killed it. Just as much as you said, he proved himself to be a force to be in any main event picture. He had finesse this weekend. He had presence. He had that bad motherfucker vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it, man. Next time they come to Chicago, I'm bringing that guy 2 Baja Blasts and a fucking taco party pack. He fucking earned it.
I hope you do the same when I come to Chicago for All Out, man. I need
damn it. It's going down, but yeah, no, and both matches, top to bottom, phenomenal. Not shit to nitpick there in any of it. I really had a great time watching Alex Zayne this weekend. I thought he was on top of his fucking game.
It was an easy watch too. Like, and I know we've been talking about all the good matches. The show had flow to it, and you can't say the same about a lot of wrestling shows. And there's a lot of wrestling to get through, but I think having the intermission between both really lets the show breathe. And there was a lot of the matches were strategically placed on the card. So shout out to the booking team that made them. It was all placed very strategically. So, you know, that also helped the show flow. But my number 1, and who would have thought, I have 2 Starboy Charlie matches here, and it's Joey Janela defeating Starboy Charlie. For a second there, I thought that Janela was going to lose, because at this point, Janela doesn't care. Like, Janela, as we mentioned, he lost to Action Mike Jackson. Janela doesn't care about losing, but there are some spots. And the one thing that really set this apart as my number 1 was Janela's ingenuity to create creative offense. And it's challenging to do new things in wrestling, but obviously Joey Janela is willing to change things up, be silly if he needs to be. We saw him light his foot on fire and super kick someone, which made Jim Cornette's head explode. But the offense we saw here, if you guys didn't see it and you saw it in the highlight package that One Bad Chat put together so beautifully, was that suplex throughout the whole arena. And as silly as it is, it's memorable. And if someone was watching wrestling for the first time or was there in attendance, they're going to walk away remembering that guy. Remember, we watched the guy carry him throughout the whole arena. As silly as it was, it's very memorable. But he's just creative, and he's willing to throw stuff at the wall and figure out what sticks. And I think what Janela has done since leaving AEW, where he felt like he was unfulfilled, underutilized, he's really stepped into his own, where he's using GCW as his like springboard and reinvigorating his love for wrestling. You can tell he's having a great time doing this. Doesn't matter who his opponent is. He just feels like he is this really, he's a veteran presence, which I guess he didn't have that feel when he was in AEW, because he was among some of the best talent in the world. I'm not saying that GCW doesn't have them, but he has a lot of experience throughout the whole deathmatch circuit, but also working AEW and being there from the inception. That experience really lends itself well for him to extend that knowledge to the young talent there in GCW and put on these matches. And working with Starboy Charlie, that has to be such a huge experience, where obviously Janela's calling the spots, but it's only going to make Charlie better going forward, and he's going to pass the knowledge on to somebody else. So shout out to Joey Janela. You've been asking for your flowers. I give it to you every time I talk about you. Fantastic. You get the whole bouquet, the whole garden. Joey Janela, fantastic. Keep on keeping on, my man.
Dude, he's the man in that company to me. He is the measuring stick of GCW. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, when I think of GCW, I think a lot of people go to Nick Gage, but like we've said, the 2 men, in my opinion, I think Mike said the same thing. The 2 guys that GCW is built on, Nick Gage, Joey Janela. Without a shadow of a doubt. He is the fucking man in that company. And, you know, his match with Kevin Blackwood, his match with Starboy Charlie, you want to talk about, he has no problems losing. He has matches with legends. He is doing the best work. I'm glad he's not in AEW right now.
100%.
I'm glad. He looks like he's in the best shape of his career. He's taking it seriously. You can see it. And the dude is working his fucking ass off. I'm wanting to say I saw a post from him where he said he had 11 or 12 matches already in July. crazy work pace.
And this
No,
is
and
the
we-
environment he thrives in. Let's be honest with it. The bigger environment, Joey Janela is as punk rock as it comes as far as pro wrestling goes. And being in AEW, Darby Allin has that market cornered as far as an indie guy who has a lot of bumps there. And I think Darby Allin would be amazing in GCW, don't get me wrong. But Janela felt like he wasn't, I use the word, he was unfulfilled in AEW. He wasn't being utilized. And I don't think there was a place for him. Maybe this Janela that he's reinvigorated, he's more in shape. He's figuring out a way to separate himself from the other talent on the roster. Maybe if he goes back to AEW, he can learn from the mistakes that both booking and himself, they both made. But I think if you compare him from that first match he had with Moxley all the way, or even with Omega,
The lights out match.
match, and compare him to the guy we're seeing here, the two different individuals. There's changed so much transformation over time. And Janela has learned so much since that time back in 2018.
I got to give him his flowers, though. And I feel like this was not his fault. I feel like this was a booking problem from AEW, not putting more of a light on Dark and Dark Elevation, because he had that little feud with Sonny Kiss that was on Dark. And he had that little side story with him and Alex Marvez going to strip clubs and mommy milkers and all those promos that they were cutting, that me and Steve were popping huge for that shit. We were pulling those audio clips. Like he was doing really good shit tucked away in the dark on YouTube. Yeah. But I'm glad he's in GCW. I think that's a great pick for your number one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you subscribe to that AEW crate, you just got that Best of Dark Volume 2. Yep. That lights out match is on there. I just watched it over the weekend. It was a fucking great match still.
Yeah.
I mean, to take away, Joey Janela is so good. He was my highlight for the Backyard Wrestling show that they just did in GCW. It was fucking entertaining. Janela is so underrated. It's mind-boggling. Not only does he deserve his flowers, but he deserves all the lobster that the checks can pay for. Motherfucker deserves everything. Yeah, just a phenomenal all-around great entertainer. I think he's going to go down as one of the best.
And humble beginnings too.
Yeah. Ace, you talked about the standing suplex he walked around at Back to the Bay. He gave that a test drive at the Backyard Wrestling event where it was a crazy long he carried that fucking guy across that field forever.
Donnie Janela.
Yeah, man.
Also at the Backyard show, he's laying in the pool with the twisted tea too. That kind of shit. It's funny, but it's also it makes him stand out. And I think he's really finding that balance of taking himself seriously, but not too serious to not lose to a guy like Mike Jackson, who's 70 years old.
Yeah. And speaking of Janela, there's something we haven't even brought up yet from this weekend that I have a clip of that I want to play. There was a sign in the crowd at No Signal in the Hills that said Janela fears Brian Cornette's lackey. What?
Oh God.
Brian First? Is that his?
Brian Last.
Brian Last. Yeah. You're not first or last, damn it.
Yeah. So
he's the king with the pass. His name is Brian fucking Last.
Yeah. This fan has this sign and Janela eyeballs it and the fan's giving him the bird the whole time. This is just primo Janela. This is a long-term feud, online feud between Cornette and Joey Janela, and I had to play this because Janela just had to own this fan. Here we go. This is Janela at No Signal in the Hills calling out a Cornette fan.
Show, motherfucker! You guys like role playing? How about tonight after the show, you play the part of Jim Cornette, and she plays the part of Stacy, and you watch me fuck her.
What in the hell did he just say?
I know you want me, baby. I know you want me, baby. I know you fucking want me, baby. Welcome to GC fucking W.
Love it.
Yeah.
Maybe Papa Smile guy? The guy was so serious.
I think he was a Cult of Cornette guy. He was not there for a good time.
Oh my
He still
God.
bought a ticket. That fucking Mark.
That's it. He still bought a
Outlaw
ticket.
Mud Show.
I
Yeah.
loved it. What? How do you not love somebody that can come out? It's you be Stacy. He'll be Cornette. You can watch me fuck her. This is just beautiful, man.
So great. All right, so I guess since we ran down our Ain't No Jive 5, I guess we can go ahead and give our belt. All right, best bout. This is my best bout. It's been mentioned already. We're shining a lot of love on these guys. Both of you were. But I got Commander versus Gringo Loco at my best bout of the weekend. Loved it. It was just a fun fucking ride, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like a connoisseur of lucha libre. I like it, but it's not like it's the one thing. I like wrestling of all forms. You know, that I think the buffet of wrestling is what I live for. But this is just top tier lucha libre, man. How could you not like a match like this?
Yeah.
You mentioned the rope running ace. I mean, a couple of those clips in the highlight package we played was from this match. Just an all out blast. You know, this is High Spot City, classic lucha. This is a match I would show someone like, this is GCW, man. This is what you can get on a GCW show. I love both of these guys. Gringo Loco, obviously, he's been on the show, but Commander, I think Commander is falling in line of that Rey Mysterio, Rey Phoenix type of guy. Like, could he be the next Mexican superstar or next lucha superstar? I think he could be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm just going to jump you for a second, Mike Belcaster, because I have the same exact one. So I don't want to just wait in the bullpen here for it. So same exact one. And you said it best. This match, I think, highlighted the best of both of these guys in their prime right now. Gringo Loco got the win here, and it's nice to see him getting some shine. But Commander, even in losing effort, looked amazing. And he's opening eyes to a lot of people. And it wouldn't shock me to see him working other promotions, and he just came over from AAA, got the visa stamped, and he's here for now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I want to see him in AAA back there as well, because I think there's some matchups that we need to be seeing. You know, Triple Mania just finished, but we're going to have some big events happening in AAA. And then having Commander working potentially AEW, like down the future, I'm thinking about working with Rey Phoenix. But again, I mentioned before, WWE wants another lucha guy. There's been that hole missing as far as there's no lucha guy there. I mean, aside from Rey Mysterio, like you need that next guy, the up and comer. And they have scouts everywhere. It wouldn't shock me if Commander was someone they kind of bookmark and say in a year or so, let's see where he's at and bring him in.
Yeah.
No, for sure. With that said, love the pick. Both of you guys fucking nailed it on the head. My best bout is Blake Christian versus Starboy Charlie. I had a fucking blast with that, man. And again, like, I talked about Janelle and Starboy, but I think this was such a fucking great match and really highlighted. Like you said, Starboy Charlie had a phenomenal weekend. It might be who they paired him with. It might be just Starboy Charlie. I don't know. It's yet to be seen on my end, but fucking loved everything the kid was doing. And I mean, you put him in the ring with Blake Christian. How can you go wrong? You know, great shit. Good shit, pal.
Yeah. So that's our best bouts. So I guess it's time to pick a BMF of the weekend. BMF. My BMF, hot sauce, Alex Zayne. I thought it, like I said in talking about the matches, man, I love the mean streak. I think he stepped up into the upper echelon from that, the mid card, all these guys kind of trading wins and losses. I could see him stepping up into a winning streak. I loved what he did. He looks like he's filling out too. Like he's putting mass on a little bit. Like, I don't know. I feel like something special is happening with Alex Zayne.
No, 100%. Hence why my BMF is Alex Zayne too. Motherfucker coming off of what he did in Australia, that dive off the balcony, and then going into this weekend, fucking just slaying it. And he definitely is putting on some big man muscle. The guy has a fucking beautifully unique look. He's got the in-ring work to prove it. I don't know what more you could want out of a character. It's just so fucking awesome, man. I think he's on a really high roll right now, and I think if they keep it up with booking him like this, we're gonna have a goddamn star on our hands, man, and it's gonna be great. And I can't wait to just throw the hot sauce packets at him next time I see him in person, man. Fucking all the love to Alex Zayne.
There's something to be said about a very nice mustache, and he's rocking that mustache with the curl. And and also too, don't want to be mistaken. We mentioned it twice, but such a great weekend. There's, to me, no coincidence. He has the Midas touch, the Australian icon here on the Turnbuckle Tavern. But I also had him, but I hemmed and hawed. There was 3 guys. I had Commander up there, even though losing effort. I also had Hot Sauce, because you watch the show. He was one of those guys that when I pick a BMF, I want to pick a guy that stood out to me. But the guy who stood out most to me was Tavern alum, Gringo Loco, coming in 2-0, 2 great matches. And again, I spoke to the match that Jordan Oliver and Titus Alexander had. They weren't supposed to wrestle, but similar to Gringo Loco, was supposed to be wrestling John Morrison, and he had to take on Rocky Romero, and they called in the ring. Gringo Loco finished with that spinning sit-down powerbomb off the top rope, an amazing match, and then followed it the next night with another great match with Commander. It was just a fantastic showing of wrestling, and shows the depth of character and eclectic style that he can work. I mean, Rocky Romero is not like he's a very technical wrestler. He's able to do the high flying stuff if he needs to, but the 2 different matches were very diametrically different. You had the Lucha classic style with Commander, and you had a ground and pound technical match with Rocky Romero, but they also did some high spots on top rope. It just showed Gringo Loco can adapt and be a different type of wrestler, which made me believe, to your point, he could be a great challenger when Blake Christian takes the title from Jon Moxley. If that happens SummerSlam weekend at the versus the People, that's what the event's called.
People versus GCW.
I think that'd be amazing to see that first feud. And he doesn't have to win, but he'd be a great first challenger.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely, man. And I'm all for that. I think Gringo had a killer weekend. Before we move into our final little segment here, I got to show this clip. we talked about the backyard wrestling show. We talked about Janela doing the long walking suplex. There was also a clip circulating from that event that you can't come back with a GCW show and not show this clip. It's only 12 seconds. Had to show it. It's a fun clip. This is just the chaos of their backyard wrestling July 4th annual show they have. I think this is the 4th one they've put on. But yeah, here we see a little fire get involved here. I love Tony Deppin's reaction. Yeah, just a fireball. They're on top of a building. He blows a fireball. Guy falls off through a table. GCW, gotta love it.
They do birthday parties. What do you say? 4th of July parties.
Man.
Get a rocket ice pop. You get a fireball to the face.
All right. So last segment, fun one. Let's get some top tweets.
GCW top fucking tweets.
Top fucking tweets. All right. Let's kick it off with one from the man himself, Brett Lauderdale.
Jordan Oliver has leveled up big time as a performer in the last 6 months. Time for everybody to see. I like it.
He's been putting on great shows, man.
Yeah.
Kids looking good.
Kid's got a future.
Yeah. and, he was doing work in MLW, and now he's kind of went strictly GCW for the time being, I believe, but He's looking good. He's another one of those young guys who could at any moment elevate into a main event scene.
Yeah.
Stamp of approval from the guy. So
Yeah,
like,
from
what
the
else do you
man.
need?
Second tweet from Joey Janela.
I was gonna light myself on fire, but beforehand I looked for a fire extinguisher and I couldn't find one. Hashtag GCW signal.
He lit his foot on fire a couple weeks ago. So
he didn't. He just needed the extinguisher, man. It was just not
Fantastic.
there.
And his profile picture is the best, man. He has like the classic Facebook dad with the glasses
good.
and the hat. It's so good.
all right, next up, we got Mance Warner.
SGC always steps in and fucking delivers. Don't give us no flowers, give us beers. Agree with the man. Cheers to Mance Warner, motherfucker.
Cheers.
Cheers. Light beers and lariats. All right, another one. This is one from our alum, the guy who usually pops up all the fucking time in this segment, Mr. Emil J himself.
Just so everybody knows, I literally made it to the venue tonight by mere moments. Flight delays led me to being 2 blocks away on Melrose Avenue at a red light. I jumped out of the car and ran down the street, blew by venue security straight to the ring, and went live 1 minute later. Fucking
Wow.
flowers the email, man. Guy's a goddamn legend.
He was out of breath at the announce table, and they actually mentioned it right before the show went live. And they were like, "Oh, I have to get to my friend. I got to see if he got in." And he just was all sort of bothered, but it's funny to see him tweet that. I didn't see that. He actually just landed. I think there was a whole bunch of delays for some of the talent. He was the last one to get in,
By
but he
the
made
skin
it.
of his
True
teeth,
professional.
man.
MLJ. Thank you. For
Zoom
being
was it
there.
all. Fucking
Pro shit. All right, next tweet is from our favorite heel in GCW at the time, Mr. Matt Cardona.
Responding to Blake Christian. Blake Christian writes, "Thank you all. Let's keep this wild roller coaster going, shall we?" Matt Cardona, you forgot to say that you're an unsafe worker and you tore my bicep and cost me thousands of dollars.
That's another feud, man.
Yeah.
Cardona's already kind of angling for that feud once he returns from his injury. That could be a fun one.
Former champion going after the newest champion. I'm
Yeah,
all
even
here
if they're
for it,
playing
man.
characters, it'd be, I'm sure Matt Cardona didn't unfollow Blake Christian or vice versa because they disagree with something. So very interesting stuff here.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, here is a tweet from the other voice of GCW, Mr. Kevin Gill. We haven't had him on our top fucking tweets before, but here's one from Kevin Gill.
KG making the debut. I'm one of those wrestling commentary is a vital part of the show people, which makes sense because I mean he is a vital part of the show, and he's also fucking Matt Cardona, that piece of shit. Love Kevin Gill, man.
He's
Absolutely.
so
good.
underrated, man. Like I know some people that just tune in, is like, oh, there's a lot of cursing, dude. He is. We talk about Jim Ross being the voice of the Attitude Era. KG is the voice of GCW to me, outside of Emil being, he's the commentary guy. But as far as like what Jim Ross used to say, laying the lyrics to the music, to me, it's KG all the way.
100%.
If you think about it, with any other announcing, if you put the polished nature of Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Jim Ross on the backdrop of GCW event, it wouldn't feel the same. It adds to the aesthetic. It's like having a different lead singer for the Misfits. So you need to have that guy laying down the groundwork of the vocals, because if you have John Mayer singing the vocals, it's not going to sound the same.
Right.
100%. Just akin to Joey Styles, the ECW, Kevin Gill is fucking GCW, man.
Yes.
Wow.
Next tweet, Mr. Tony Deppen.
3 years ago, at Alex Zayne Sauce gave me a wild 630 over the top at the backyard wrestling show, and now he's in Japan. I'm still in the backyard, but we gonna get wild tomorrow regardless.
Giving props to Alex Zayne, man.
Yeah,
in his own little way.
No, it's true, man. You don't fuck with the sauce.
Next tweet, the ultra violent champion himself, Mr. Alex Colon.
coming in hot. At the end of October, early November, I will be taking a hiatus from professional wrestling. Maybe short, maybe long, but much needed. I want to make sure I put it out there so I don't go back on my word come Halloween. Hashtag time to heal. Hashtag thank you, everyone. Guy deserves it, man.
Dude,
Been on a fucking hell of a run.
Yeah, and he puts his body on the line more than almost anyone in this company as far as like brutality. So for him to want to take a little break and heal some wounds, I don't fault the guy.
I feel
good to recognize that he needs it as well. So I'm just also curious, where's the Ultraviolent Championship going, and who's the next one to step up and take it come the fall? I think we mentioned that obviously Blake Christian, we're hoping that he takes the world title, but for right now, the Ultraviolent Championship is the most prestigious championship in the company. So whoever takes it from him, that's going to be a huge rub for them.
That's huge. And you're talking about a multi-time Tournament of Survival champion. I believe he's won it. He won it 3 years in a row, I believe.
Yeah, that is true.
So
crazy, man.
Crazy. Next tweet, Mance Warner again.
Still pissed. Greg the Hammer got released in 1992.
I love, if you're not following at Mance Warner, all of his, like, he's constantly watching old school wrestling. Like he would be all over Shot of Nostalgia.
Oh,
He is a great Twitter follow because he's just always posting GIFs and clips from old school wrestling. Love it. Next tweet, Mr. Jordan Oliver.
I think I could be really good at pole vaulting. I would fucking pay to see him in a pole vault match against somebody. I think that's a good idea.
Look at Vince Russo. Come on.
Him and Ninja Mac in a pole vaulting contest, hooking up. Shit would be wild.
No ladders at the pole vault and grab the belt that's hanging.
Yeah, you have to pole vault to the belt.
It'd be fucking wild.
Yeah, do what he can.
And the final tweet is from the man of the hour, Mr. Blake Christian.
Yes, I'm 110% focused on Mox, but don't think for a second that I forgot about Johnny G. Still calling it out there.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, you guys had mentioned a tweet with Nyla Rose. I guess I didn't see that tweet. What was the tweet?
Let me pull it up so I don't have
please pull it up. It's great. So we all know Leo Rush comes out on what was the show?
No Signal in the Hills.
No Signal in the Hills. Leo Rush pops up, and I think Game Changer Wrestling tweeted out, "It's Leo Rush. What's he doing here?" And Nyla Rose politely responded, "Oh, he's retiring."
Yeah, that's spot on.
You don't get better than that. I seen that first. I was cracking up so fucking hard.
It's so true. Guys retired more than anyone in the business.
Oh, yeah, no, that's good.
I mean, Flair, who's unretiring to wrestle again.
Right. Yeah.
Fucking great. Nyla's a great Twitter follow, by the way, if you guys are missing out. She's not in GCW, obviously, but
she is a great follow.
Fun as fuck to read her time.
She's great. So yeah, that was top fucking tweets, guys. Just looking ahead, get your fucking calendars out. July 29th, the People versus GCW in Nashville.
Woo.
We will come back. We will be back 2 weeks from today, which will be August 1st, and we will be covering the People versus GCW. That's going to be a huge weekend, so we will be back with that show in mind. And then they return for a double shot weekend in Atlantic City for Homecoming weekend. That's August 13th and 14th. And then we've got another double shot on August 19th and 20th with Sanctified in Charlotte and Hope to Die in Atlanta. And then September 16th, they have Liverpool on the docket. They're going to England. And we also have Japan in the horizon. We've got a return to California in the horizon.
I'm sure
return to Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah.
They always come here for All Out weekend. So I'm sure they'll be here for fucking All Out weekend unless they got something booked already.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff in store. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
No, just happy to have you back. We've missed you badly on the tavern. We still were getting our fix with at the flagship, but having you back streaming, I've missed this, and this was a good time.
Too.
We obviously been watching Game Changer Wrestling, but this is the fix that we get as well to talk about the amazing wrestling. And only you guys that are watching, you guys here in the room with me right now, understand the love we have for Game Changer Wrestling. So thank you guys for doing this.
Yeah,
man.
Thank you guys. I'm happy to be back. Happy to be back in the swing of things. Can't wait to come back and talk about Mox versus Blake Christian and all the other fun Game Changer Wrestling shenanigans. But now, I guess it's time to vanish back into that spooky dust. We're not going to be gone as long as we were. We'll be back in 2 weeks, just like we always were before I had to fuck shit up and make a new studio. So
just for the better of the tavern, goddammit.
Yeah. So until next time, keep grinding that axe. Long live the Turnbuckle Tavern and long live GCW.
Look at fun. Fucking dick.